So we're on our way to Santiago, Chile, and we have one layover in Lima, Peru. So we're gonna be staying there for I think 4-hour layover, and then after that we're gonna be in Santiago, Chile.
4 hours drive, we're gonna go to Machu Picchu.
One country down, 9 to go. We made it to Chile, and after like, what was it, 8 hours I think of traveling, so we finally made it, and we're now gonna head up to the hostel. And it's been about 8 hours of traveling, I have to say, but the climate here is a lot hotter and a lot cooler, which is nice.
The day and night temperature are big.
We're actually happy to be away from Costa Rica because it was very expensive, so we'll see how Chile is. We're just gonna head up to the hostel and then check out Santiago, probably do maybe a walking tour or do something to check out the town, because we have 2 days here, so we'll see how that goes. This definitely is rated the #1 place to visit in 2018, so we're super excited to be visiting the one place that everyone wants to go to. Well, we made it to our hostel, High Hostel, and yeah, now we're gonna check in and then we'll go head out on the town. So here we are at the hostel. Seems pretty cool. Chile colors. Oh wow, big area. Chile. Earth.
They're finishing this year. See, that's the subway construction, because the subway is going underneath the street. And they're gonna change many of these regular streets into walking streets. Imagine here there were cars passing by here 3-4 months ago. See, now all for pedestrian. This one and the ones that goes down. See, so that's the idea nowadays. Okay, but the wheat is cooked. It's like gummy. Okay, and then they put a couple of peaches inside. Okay, so they have wheat peaches, and then they fill it up with this very cold and very sweet peach juice. Okay, and the most important part, they give you a spoon. See, so if you're hungry, you eat, and if you're thirsty, you drink. See, very original stuff. It's called, you're gonna see the name here on the side, mote con huesillos. Okay, mote con huesillo. Don't forget to try it. The most typical dessert and the most typical street food also here in Santiago, so you're gonna see it all around the place. The only thing you have to remember, and this is like the rule of Chilean drinks, it has to be sweet. Okay, if it's not sweet, people don't like it. So if you try something and it's not sweet, probably not from Chile. Okay, so that's sweet, just so you know. If you want to try it now, you can try it now. If not, you're gonna see it all around the place. Well, and the president of Chile, by the way, in case you didn't know, the president of Chile, Michelle Bachelet. Remember, Michelle Bachelet, very important. She was the first women president in Latin America. Okay, so very important. Okay, and she doesn't live at the presidential palace. Okay, the president of Chile lives in her house, you know, which is the same house that she's always had. That's like the presidential house, and this is the office where the president comes to work. Okay, which is kind of weird, by the way, because imagine every now and then when people come to do demonstrations here, and if they find out that the president is not at the presidential palace, they go to her house to go. And historically it's been like that. So that's the way it is. Okay, now guys, and speaking of presidents, we're gonna talk about the most controversial president in the modern history of Chile. Don't forget the name, Salvador Allende. Okay, Salvador Allende was elected in the year 1970. Okay, and very controversial. First, because again, Allende was the first democratically elected socialist president in the history of Chile. Okay, and the thing is that the idea of Salvador Allende was to solve, you could say, the big problem of Chile, which is the same problem we have nowadays. Social difference. In Chile, the gap between the really rich and the really poor is ridiculous. Actually, people forget, still nowadays, 2018, in Chile we are still on the top 10 worldwide in terms of social difference.
Really?
Okay, so,
wow.
and we have a famous saying, we say here in Chile, we say, don't forget it, Santiago is not Chile, we say, because the reality in other regions of the country is very different from what you see here. See, so that was the idea of Allende. We're going to decentralize the country away from Santiago. We're going to nationalize most of the industry, even the field, as we say it here in Chile. Now imagine the reactions. I mean, all the right-wing, kind of more conservative parties, they started freaking out, and they said, okay, you know what, this guy, Allende, okay, this guy is crazy, you know, and this guy wants to transform Chile into Cuba. You know, like this is gonna be like the next Cuba of South America here with this guy. Actually, Allende always said it. Allende was pretty funny. Allende said, yeah, he said, this is gonna be a revolution because we're doing some really, really drastic changes. But he said, not a revolution done with guns, okay? Not like the Cubans. We're gonna make a Chilean revolution with red wine and empanadas. You know, that's the kind of revolution. That was a famous sentence. Now, what happened was that all the parties came up with a plan to take Allende out. What was the plan? Economic crisis. They said, what happens if we create a blocking of the economy and if the country collapses? Well, they said, the same people of Chile are going to force the president to resign. See, so imagine. And simply as that, they started paying the companies to stop working, paying the workers to go on strike, confiscating all the importations and exportations. Very important, paying the press to discredit the image of Allende. I mean, paralyze everything, okay? Now, the thing is that was just one of the problems of Allende. And that's why we say Allende, President Allende was left completely alone, because what happens? All the extreme left, we're talking the people that really wanted to make an armed revolution like the Cuban Revolution here in Chile, okay, those guys, they also started pressuring Allende, and they said, Allende, we voted for you, see? So now, we want to take control of the country. Actually, imagine when Fidel Castro came to Chile, that was in the year 1972, Fidel Castro said to Allende personally, he said, the only way of doing what you want is by arming the people, like we did back in Cuba. There's no other way of doing it. So as I was saying, Allende was left completely alone, and his idea of doing, as he called it, a democratic and peaceful revolution, that was like the official name, never worked, you know, and mostly because of the international intervention. Imagine in the year 2011, that was pretty recent, when President Obama came to Chile. President Obama was the one that gave to the Chilean government the famous letter, famous because now it's online, you can actually check it out, the letter of Richard Nixon. And you can see the letter where Nixon says, if Allende becomes president, we have to make the Chilean economy scream. And if you need money, here's money. See? And what happened at the other side? Fidel Castro from Cuba started sending to Chile arms, guns, explosives, you know, to arm all the left revolutionary groups. And again, Allende stuck in between. See? So, well, at one point, Allende simply loses control. I mean, he loses control of the country, but he comes up with an idea. New election. Okay, we're gonna make a new election and we're gonna let the people decide if they want me to continue or not. Simple. And that's when the army came in. Okay, and the army, which has always been closer to the more conservative parties, the army said to those guys, okay, you know what? Your plan to take Allende out didn't work. Okay, your plan didn't work because imagine that the guy wants to do a new election now, see? So we're going with our plan. Military intervention. And we, the army, we are taking over the country. See, well, and this happened on the most dramatic moment in the modern history of Chile, so don't forget it. And again, September 11th, 1973. Okay, so the morning of September 11th, 1973, around 8 a.m., President Allende arrives to the presidential palace. Okay, now what happens? 2 hours later, around 10 a.m., 4 tanks right here in front of the building and snipers all around the place.
Holy.
Now imagine the first 10 minutes cross shooting, like from the building, the snipers, they started shooting the palace, and from the palace, the National Guard, which are the protectors of the president, they started shooting back to the building. Actually, see the statue over here? See on the face, on the cheek? See, that's
yeah. Oh, there is a bullet hole there.
And this building had a lot of bullet holes, but our former president decided to cover them up. Which people didn't like, right? That's the way it is. Okay, well, and what happens? After those 10 minutes of cross shooting, imagine 2 tanks got very close and they bombed the entrance. Wow. Okay, they bombed the door and they called Allende. And they said, you have 5 minutes to evacuate the palace because we are coming in. Imagine, Allende told everybody to leave the palace, but he decided to stay inside. Okay, and then the Air Force, so the Air Force came on this direction from north to south, and the Air Force bombed the building. And destroyed, most of the building was destroyed. Imagine, everything started burning down inside. The army went in up to the presidential room and they found the President Allende dead. Okay, the most typical Chilean sandwiches is called chacarero. Don't forget to try it. Beef, tomatoes, green beans, and green chili. Okay, really good, a little bit spicy. Don't forget to try it, chacarero. Now you're gonna see a lot of this. Italiano, Italiana. What's an Italiano? Okay, it could be or a hot dog or a sandwich that comes with tomato, mayonnaise, and avocado. Like the Italian flag. Tomato, mayonnaise, avocado. Okay, and the completo, again, a hot dog or a sandwich that comes with tomato, mayonnaise, and sauerkraut. No. Sauerkraut to fruit?
That sounds pretty good.
Okay.
Let's try here.
Okay, guys. And in Chile, just in Chile, you want to have a beef with melted cheese sandwich, you have to say the name of President Barros Luco. Imagine President Barros Luco from the year 1910. Imagine 1910. His favorite sandwich, beef melted cheese. And he said, hey, from now on in Chile, if you want to have a beef with melted cheese sandwich, you're gonna have to say my name. After 100 years, you have to say the name of President Barros Luco, who was a really, really bad president. Now we make fun of the guys. We say Barros Luco, the most lazy president in Chilean history because his legacy is sandwich. Mira, nunca me cae, tómate toda esta wea. Ya, sube. Feliz cumple con pipas. Ay.
Yeah. Wow, it's crazy here.
Chicos, buenas noches. Discoteca aquí en entrada liberada. Para que no me dejen echar las salsas para las 4 de la mañana.
I just came here to check it out. This place is crazy though.